Are you an asset or a liability? Microwavable culture. Assets, things that appreciate with time. Paintings, jewelry, stocks, property if you play it right. But we don't look at ourselves as assets. The entire property of a person. Who are you? What do you stand for? And once you know you're an asset, you wouldn't surround yourself with liabilities. Disadvantages, that's what liabilities are. A lot of times we don't look at our friends like we need to. We don't look at ourselves as we need to. Because if you're an asset, then you wouldn't be hanging around with liabilities, but a lot of people don't look at themselves as assets. See, a lot of people know who they are. A lot of people want to do great things in this world. A lot of people know what their God-given gifts are. And that makes you an asset. And I think we all have wonderful gifts, but not a lot of people will be able to exercise those gifts because they'll never be able to have the mental to find themselves in order to be what they need to be. So instead of finding themselves, their true self, they'll look at you as the asset and they want what you got because they see themselves as liabilities, whether they believe it or not. Because see, a liability isn't worried about what you got going on. It's just worrying about how to stop you from getting what you got going on going. Continue it going. That's all it is. And as a liability, you don't mind messing my stuff up. And if I know that, then I shouldn't have you around. Because see, assets should surround themselves with assets. Because you want to appreciate as the years go on. You don't want to depreciate. You want to appreciate. That's why you're an asset. And you don't want to have anybody that's a liability, that's a disadvantage, that's going to hinder your growth and success. See, I remember I used to look at myself as a liability. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. And I was a liability. I used to hang with people who I thought were assets, right? So now I know what an asset is, I know what liability is now. I used to look at them as assets. I used to look at them as, all right, as the years go, we're going to get stronger. We're going to be better. 10, 20 years down the line, I'm going to still be cool with these people. But that's not what it was. As I started to get older, as the blinders started to lift, as you all heard me say before, because I feel like when you're born, you think like a child. And a lot of people will never be able to shake that childlike thinking. But when you grow and you understand who you are, you start to shed that childlike thinking and the blinders. You start looking at life the way you need to look at life to be successful, to survive in a sense. Because a lot of people are gunning for your downfall, especially when you're an asset. That's why you need to know that you're an asset. Because once you know who you are, you're not going to have any disadvantages around you. But a lot of people don't survey the landscape the way they need to. I was that person. Just want to have people around. Just want to feel like I fit in. You know? Tired of being an outcast. Tired of being looked at as different. Like different was ever a bad thing. But when you look at yourself as a liability, you don't have any confidence in yourself. You don't have self-confidence. Self-confidence doesn't live there. You're a liability. You're a disadvantage. You don't believe in yourself. You don't have no self-esteem. You don't know who you are. But you know what? You're probably jealous. You probably don't like the people around you. You probably want what they have. I feel like a lot of people I used to kick it with back in the day wanted what I have. Was jealous of my success, the success that I didn't even know I had because I didn't. But when they're not cheering, when you think they should be cheering, those are signs that you need to adhere to, because you could potentially be empowering a liability. Because they'll let you know if they're a liability or asset or not. You just got to give them time. But a lot of times we're too quick to rush things. We want what we want when we want it. But if you're an asset, you can take your time. You can see the field, the whole entire landscape with a clear view and understand who's for you and who isn't. Because you wouldn't have any disadvantages and you're an asset, because eventually they're going to take you down. If you can see it or not. That's why it's time to jettison any disadvantage, any liability, especially when they're hindering growth, especially when you saw behavior that you wouldn't reciprocate to them, because they'll show you who they are. And if you don't listen, that could be your homicide, because we see it every day. Social media getting out of hand. It's a new challenge every other week. And it's always pertaining to some money, somebody flashing some jewelry, and a car. Now, how many liabilities do you think is on the internet? You think everybody that's on the internet is secure within themselves? Hell, you got people right now who are assets and running with a lot of liabilities. And it's only a matter of time before that asset gets got. Because you got to protect yourself, the property of self. You get better as you get older. You should be. That's how you know you're an asset or not. A lot of people don't think like that. A lot of people want to take liabilities with them and think they could turn liabilities into assets. You can't do that. And why would you want to do that? Because if I look at you as a liability and I try to change you into an asset, turn you into an asset, I might show you too much that you can't digest. So now I empowered you to potentially go back home and say, oh, okay, he done showed me way too much. I didn't even know he had it like this. Because you can't show everybody everything. Some people can't handle it, even the people you think that's really for you. If you show them something that they have never seen before, they might not be able to handle it. That's why you got to give it time to see who's an asset and who's a liability. But it starts with you. Because if you're a liability, then go ahead and run with all the liabilities you want. But if you're an asset, then you should be running with assets. You should run with people who add value to your life. Because I don't know if anyone told you this or not, but you don't have to have anyone in your life to be successful. You can run this race by yourself. Only thing you need to believe is in yourself and the Lord and Savior. That's all you really need. And He'll strengthen you and give you the power to be great. So armed with that knowledge, why would you even think about surrounding yourself with people who don't share the same values as you? Because in order to have a team, and I think if you're an asset, you want to surround yourself with a bunch of assets. A team, essentially. Because the older you get, friendships mean so much more. You know, the days of just coking and joking, and I don't mean literally coking, but the days of just sitting around rolling up an L in somebody's bedroom, watching music videos, talking about, man, look at that chain, man, look at all that money. That's clipped. You know, this life is fast. This life is quick. And you don't have time to be repeating patterns because you might not be able to repeat it again. So you got to do what you need to do to keep this thing moving forward. Never be stagnant, but move forward. And liabilities keep you at a disadvantage. You should be able to look at your friends and be able to build a team. Be something extraordinary, because we aren't going to be here forever. But your contribution, what you leave this world, that could last forever. Now, when you want to surround yourself with people like that, thinking as one, moving as one, acting as one, you know, a lot of people aren't fortunate to have a team, a solid team, where everyone's on one accord, where everybody's trying to win rings and championships. You understand what I'm saying? Like, that's why I think the team dynamic is so wonderful. Because not everybody has a team. And if you have a team, you got a team full of assets or you got a team full of liabilities. Because a team full of assets, they want to win. They want to help you win. Why? Because they winning themselves. If you can't help yourself win, you can't help anybody else win. See, that's why having assets is so good, because they're already winning. Because if they're not winning, then they wouldn't be an asset. They already know who they are. They got principles. They got morals. They got things that they don't go against the game. Now, I'm disciplined. There's certain things I don't do because I'm an asset. And I know that if I go against who I am now, my morals and my discipline that I laid out for myself, and I go against that, then where would I be in the next 5 to 10 years? If I waver from what I put in place now, if I deviate from what I said I wouldn't do, you understand? Because you want to appreciate. As the years get older, you should be getting better, like fine wine. Like a 1886, you know, whatever the name is, right? Costs like $14,000. Y'all know wine can get real expensive, right? Because it appreciates, because it's an asset. But a lot of people will let liabilities take them out the game. And they saw behavior that they should have jettisoned a long time ago. Don't let liabilities take you out the game because you don't realize that you're an asset. Because sometimes, if you don't realize you're an asset, the people you hang around, they'll realize you're an asset. And I think that's the worst thing, because they plotting on your downfall and you never realize that you're an asset. Microwave culture.